very, very fascinating event, and so cool to see that SUP has become one of the main forms of it. But folks, it's that time of the evening stage. I want to bring on a very, very special guest. And before I bring him into frame, just a quick introduction to embarrass him a bit. This is a man who is doing something absolutely extraordinary this year. I met Göran a few years ago here at the 11 City Tour, and it turned out we both spoke Swedish, so we kind of got along when we were in the draft trains. But this year, he's done something extra special. You know what? Let's bring him on. I want him to explain what he's doing. Ladies and gentlemen, Göran Gustafsson from Sverige.
Yep.
From Sweden. My old Swedish comrade. Göran, welcome to the evening stage for starters. And can you just tell us, for starters, what are you doing? And then I'm going to ask you why. But just explain what you're actually doing this week.
This week I started to do the NONSTOP for the weekend. And then I had 2 days rest, and I do the 5 days with you guys.
So you're literally doing this twice in the span of about 7.5 days. You've done the non-stop, which we did together, or we not together. You were about 100 miles in front of me, but we're on the water at the same time, approximately. You did the non-stop in a crazy fast time, by the way, 31 hours. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, my goal was 32 hours, and I did it in 31 and a half. So I was stoked.
You picked the hardest year to try and get a goal as well.
Yeah.
Like all the elements were against us. I don't know how you beat your goal. I missed my goal by 8 hours. So congratulations. And you did it on inflatable, a red paddle co-inflatable.
Yeah, I paddle red paddle, inflatable. And so I keep going on that one, and it serves me well.
Are you just trying to make things difficult, or is it actually a pretty fast board?
It is a fast board. It is a fast board.
It's one of those ones with the what's that called? The stabilizer stiffness.
The stabilizer stiffness, so it's quite good in downwinds paddling.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, the effort I went to get my board here,
yeah,
that inflatable sounds pretty good right now.
Yeah,
that's a whole different story. But tell us, before we get into why you're trying to do, well, why you're very successfully doing the non-stop and the 5 day, summarize the non-stop for us.
The non-stop started at 8 o'clock for me. It was really nice, pretty much downwind the first stage. And I was looking at my watch all the time. There's nothing else to do. And I tried to keep my pace going. And I hit the first stage, and I think I was an hour ahead then. So it was really good. My crew was supporting me, and they were stoked. They thought, he's going to blow up. You know, he's going to kill himself in this pace. And then we hit the lakes. It was pretty bad. The headwind. And then after the second day's break, we hit the headwind. And it was bad. So I went from 7.5 kilometers an hour down to 5.5 kilometers an hour. So more or less after, what I'd say, 3/5 of the race, I was half an hour behind my so I lost about 1.5 hours.
So you had to hammer on that final stage.
Yeah, I hit it.
So you just sprinted from Dockham back to Leeuwarden.
And then I sprinted from Dockham.
Yeah.
No, it's actually started through the night. It was quite nice. It was really beautiful night.
It was, huh?
Yeah.
When the wind finally died down.
When the wind finally died down, the stars was up, the cities was beautiful. My support team supported me really well. They asked me what I wanted to eat. They asked me where to stop. I could really relax with my support team because I know where they're going to be all the time.
Yep.
So we went through the night, no sleep or anything. That's same for you, wasn't it? Or did you sleep?
I slept. My mind went somewhere else, but I wasn't sleeping.
The hardest part for me was mathematics because I tried to do 7 kilometers an hour, and I have hard time to do the math. 7 by 5. I couldn't get that to 35. I was like, and I had to begin, like say 7, 14, 21, and then I just lost it, and I think it started all over again. But then I think. When did the sun come up for me? I think it was pretty much the first lock.
I think I was still on the lake when the sun came up.
Okay. So then the sun come up, and in a way, it just feels so good when the sun come up. It just feels like a different world.
Yeah.
And
It's
that-
hard paddling at night, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to focus.
It's hard to focus.
Not just because you should be asleep,
No.
like a normal person,
Yeah.
but when you can't see your surroundings, you really lose your grip.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you fight through the night?
My crew.
Yeah.
I reckon my crew kept me going really, really well. They fed me. Like I said, I knew they were around me. I couldn't see them, but one of a sudden they just popped up on the bridge and, cheered me on. But that's the good thing with the crews that help us on the non-stop. I think they help everyone. So, I mean, I had a crew of 4 people, but I think they helped as well, the other people around us.
Yeah.
So
They didn't wait for me. I was about 6 hours behind.
No.
But in the opening stage, actually, I did have a few support crews helping me out.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I had a very, very generous support crew for myself, a one-man, one-woman support crew. And she stayed up until 7 a.m. Making sure I just didn't quit. She said, "You're not quitting. You haven't come this far to quit." Because at about 4 a.m., I was rationalizing in my mind why it would be logical to quit. Because I said, I can't quit. I can't just quit. All right? No one can just quit. But if there's a reason to quit,
you quit.
maybe we could work this out. So I started negotiating with myself. I thought, okay, well, maybe, you know what? I'm going pretty slow. Maybe I've missed a cutoff time. I should ask them if there was a cutoff time. And then I should respect the rules. And if I miss the cutoff time, even if they offer me to keep going, I should, respect the race and withdraw. So by the time I got to Vorkum, or just before, I'd convinced myself that A, I'd missed the cutoff that didn't exist. B, it would be logical for me to respect the race rules and pull out. And C, that I was presuming the support crew would offer all of this to me. So I was completely losing it. About half an hour before Vorkum, my support crew messaged me and said, "Sorry, but you're going so slow. All the support crew have left Vorkum. You've got to keep going to Franeker." I said, "God damn it. My one out, my one exit." So I was like, okay, we're just going to have to finish this.
Yeah.
But no, it was a very long night, wasn't it?
It was a long night.
So you finished the non-stop, again, in an extraordinary time. I think you were 4th.
I was
In the
I
race.
finished 4th. Yeah.
You're
I
actually
was
like
stoked.
10 minutes off the podium.
10, 20 minutes, I think.
It was
from
Nick,
the podium. Yeah.
Bart, and then there was one of the German boys,
Yeah.
and then you were right behind him.
Yeah.
So
but I couldn't, even if I knew I was close to him, I think he was strong in the end there. And in the end there, you're racing for yourself. You're
Absolutely.
not thinking of the places and
unless
all
you're Bart.
that. Yeah, except you're Bart.
I think he was the only one disappointed to finish. But he's special. But no, you're right.
special.
And we were talking about this off air earlier, how events like this, we say it's more than just a race. And I think nothing epitomizes that slogan more than the 11 City Tour, and in particular the non-stop.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you paddle beyond 10 hours, I think you've left race territory. Even 5 hours, it's not a race anymore. You're doing an adventure. You're doing it for yourself or for a cause.
I mean, you should know. You've done a pretty long race this year. Yeah, you've done
For a
the
little paddle
Yukon.
down in Canada. That was interesting.
Yeah.
But what's your reason why? Why do you do this?
I went here 3 years ago. That was my first 11 city, and like you said, it's more than a race. 11 cities is a community. All the volunteers around it, all the competitors. It doesn't matter if you the best of the world or if you come in last. Everyone eats together. Nearly sleeps together because they pretty tight the boats.
Sleeps on the same boat.
We sleep on the same boat.
We sleep close.
So it's like you said, it's more than a race. This thing, and when I finished last year, that's pretty much a year ago. Right now, I crossing the finish line, and I said to myself, "What's the next goal?" And I said, "I want to do the non-stop."
Yeah.
And ask the people that I know from they are from here. If they want to help me as a support crew, and when they said yes, I thought, I can't bail out now. From a year ago, I knew my support crew, and we've been, talking on and off the whole year how to do it and preparing and doing that sort of stuff.
Well, so you've been training actually. You've really been preparing.
I've been preparing.
You have to give me some tips.
My tip is actually you should do something each day.
Yeah.
I did
For physical conditioning or mental? Or
for the
both?
physical. I went for a walk in February for 12 hours at home, just for see how the body reacts to just walk for 12 hours.
Did you tell your wife you were going for a walk? And I'm just going for a walk. I'll be back soon.
I go for a walk about
6 a.m. the next morning. Police are being called.
And then apart from that, I think if you do some sort of training every day, the stand-up paddling, I say I train 10, 15 kilometers when I do it.
Yeah.
I do everything by myself. In the summer times, as you know, in Sweden, I do, maybe once a 20k run or a 27k run, or so. Pretty much a handful of a little bit more long distance ones.
Yeah.
But that's only 25k I've done.
So really, when it gets into 11 cities territory, a lot of it becomes mental, right?
Mental, especially non-stop.
Can you prepare mentally, or do you just have to tough it out while you're doing it?
I think you have to prepare mentally before.
How did you prepare?
Just think through the race, and I think that helped me.
Go for some 12-hour walks.
Yeah, go for 12-hour walks. Think about it. Like my support crew Hugo, he always said, "You're thinking too much." He always say, "You're thinking too much," or maybe I shouldn't think that much. But it helps me because I knew the route. If I've been to a place, I'll find my way all the way.
Yeah.
And I've done the 11 cities twice, so I pretty much knew all the corners.
Yeah.
So over the winter, I've been through the whole race, where I should be, where that sort of mental stuff.
Man, you really prepared.
I was prepared mentally. Yeah.
You made me feel guilty. Well, what you mentioned, don't think so much. What were you thinking about?
Mathematics.
Say like 3 a.m.
7 by 5.
That kept you focused?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I looked at the stars as well, thinking about that a little bit. No, 7 by 5.
Yeah.
Like that sort of stuff. And I looked at my clock and I said, I've been paddling now for 100k. How far should I have gone?
Yeah.
And I couldn't count it, so it took about an hour to calculate that out.
Wow. So the non-stop, I mean, just doing that and finishing is extraordinary. Finishing it in such a good time is amazing. To then turn around and say, okay, about less than 72 hours later, like 60 hours later, you were back out on the water on the start line for the 5-day race.
Yeah.
Now, why, Göran?
Because this is more than a race. You can do 11 cities because that's what my goal this year, to do the non-stop, finish it in good time, and then do the 5 days as more than a race. You know, enjoying the time, go in a train, paddle together with someone, having a bit of a laugh. And that worked really well the first day. When it was blowing, I don't know what the wind was the first day. So
Yeah, that first day looked rough.
yeah, the first day
I was
was
on the boat. I was pretty happy, but
the first day was rough. No one wanted to talk to you, so I thought, oh, this was not really.
Were you regretting it after that, halfway through that first stage, thinking, what on earth? I could have wrapped it up by now.
No, because I decided I want to do the non-stop and the 5 days.
So you were committed.
I was committed.
But were you happy when you woke up that second day and saw the sunshine?
Yeah, really. And saw the weather forecast and the lakes. The lakes was quite nice actually, to go over the lakes.
Yeah.
And then the halfway through the second day, when we had the wind behind us, was completely different.
Yeah.
And like you said today, I was paddling really well today, and I think everyone was paddling really well today.
Yeah.
I got help from a Dutch guy that he knew that I've done the non-stop, and he said, "Tag along me, and I keep you going." So I was up at 8.5 kilometers an hour.
Jesus.
Yeah, I was flying.
That's solid.
Yeah,
You were.
I felt really well.
Yeah.
And I wasn't hurting. Today I wasn't hurting for the first day.
Yeah.
Yeah. First, second, and third day, I was, agonying in the whole body. But today I felt I could paddle. I could really, paddle.
It's like that, isn't it? Sometimes the first couple of days, I've always found the first couple of days to be the hardest when I've done the 5 day.
Yeah.
It's strange. You almost just get into the rhythm, and then somehow, as you go further, it becomes easier.
Yeah.
So what's your what next after this? Presuming you're going to finish tomorrow, it's a cakewalk tomorrow, 27 Ks.
Yeah,
but
if nothing happened from now till tomorrow morning,
fingers crossed. Presuming everything goes fine, you cross the line in Leeuwarden. You've joined a very, very exclusive club of the non-stop 5 days in the 1 year. I guess there'd be less than 10 people have done that. We're going to have a look at the record books for that one, but it's a very exclusive club.
Especially non-inflatable.
I guarantee you're the only member of that club. But what's next?
My crew has already said they're going to support me next year. Yeah. And I can't let the crew down. So it's probably going to be another non-stop.
Yeah. Can we invite you to the Yukon?
Yeah.
Yeah? Want to come to that one?
Yeah, I really
support crew on the Yukon?
I really wanted to go do the Yukon. I haven't really sussed out the money wise and the holiday and all that sort of stuff.
I mean,
but,
just bring a tent.
Yeah.
Camping. You have the cheapest. You can check your board in easy.
I check my board.
Everyone
in.
else is
That's
freaking
the
out
good
about how to
thing.
get their board there.
Yeah. I can get my board there easy. So now Yukon is probably the next one. I don't know if I can do it next year, but definitely gonna be.
It's on the bucket list.
It's on the bucket list.
Are there any others? These ultras?
There's a fun ultra race that Casper started in Copenhagen, and it's like the same what you and I've been talking about the whole week. Is more about more than a race.
The Midnight Viking Challenge? Midsummer Viking Challenge.
The Midsummer Viking Challenge. You're a team with 4 or 5 or 6 persons, maximum of 6 people, and you take in turn for 24 hours. And it was an awesome race.
You did it?
Yeah, I did it together with 4 other people from Sweden.
Yeah.
And like you said, that's actually as well more than a race. I mean, people compete, but then everything around it is really nice as well. So that's next year.
Are you going next year?
Yeah, we're going next year.
I think I'm gonna be there. Casper, he messaged me and said, we're signing you up.
And it's really good because the boat I stay with now is a bunch from England, a special sub club, and the whole gang is coming to Copenhagen next year as well.
Oh yeah,
so they travel around.
Very cool.
Yeah. But for me, like you said, it's gonna be hopefully the non-stop, and then I was actually thinking to join the crew for the 5 days, like you said.
Yeah. I think honestly, this has been my most enjoyable 5 day yet. Because I've only paddled one day. Apart from that, no. Well, mate, thank you very much for joining us on the evening stage. It's been an absolute pleasure to hear your insights.
Thanks a lot.
Good luck on the final stage tomorrow, but I don't think you need it because you've already been around this course. You know the way.
I know the way.
Yeah, I think you're going to be fine. Thank you very much for joining us. And folks, we're going to wrap up the evening stage with that and join us tomorrow evening for the final evening stage. It's almost feels sad there's only one day left. Let's keep going. Let's make it the 20 city tour. We can go to Amsterdam. But we're going to leave it there, folks. One more day. Follow us tomorrow. Follow the Sup 11 City Tour Instagram for all the behind-the-scenes updates. Then we'll have one more live show for you tomorrow evening, produced by the wonderful students from Stenden University in Leeuwarden. Big thank you to all the organisers and all the volunteers, the army of volunteers that make this possible, who are standing in the live studio audience. Would not be possible without them. And thank you, of course, to everybody who's been watching the evening stage, sending all your comments. We'll see you out there tomorrow. And I think, Luli, we're gonna close out with a shot of... Actually, we've got the world premiere of today's recap video. So you saw it here first on the evening stage, folks. Let's roll it away.